Hello, everybody.
Oh,
I don't know what was happening then. I think it's when I was trying to share the screen and everything like that. It's all getting a bit. Never mind. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, we are now live. So thanks everybody for joining me. Thanks everyone that's in the chat already. We'll just wait for a few more to come in, and then we'll say hello to everyone in the chat. But first of all, guys, just want to thank you all for joining me. For anyone that doesn't know out there, I'd just like to introduce my guests. We have the Universal Collector, Matt, good friend of mine. How you doing, buddy?
Thank you, mate. Hello, mate. I'm fine. Hello, everyone.
We have another good friend of mine, John, the action figure grader. How you doing, friend?
Hello, hello. Great to be on.
Awesome, man. And then we have Lewis for his debut on my channel, certainly.
Yeah.
And Tyler, who's been on before from the SWTVC Instagram group and podcast.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
So how are you doing? How have your weeks been? Good?
Yeah, that's it. Summed it up.
Collecting isn't as fun as it used to be.
I think I've had more this week than all you guys in the US have had. I mean, I've had quite a lot of stuff in this week, so it's collecting wise, it's been a pretty good week.
Yeah. It's been one of those months, hasn't it, where like a lot of pre-orders have just suddenly all come at once. I'm going to hold my hands up now. That might not be the case for the guys in the US, but in the UK, it seems like so many things have come at once, but which is obviously quite good. So, Anyway, I just want to say hello to a few people in the chat because we have got a lot of people in already, and I just want to read out some names just to say hello. So we have Ray Dunkley, Jonathan Redmond, we have Pasta Collection, Matthew Whiting, Toys of the Jedi. Hi there, Chris. We have Daniel Chart. Hi there, mate. How you doing? The legend that is Des T. We have Tim Bainbridge, Gary Moore, the legend. There's so many legends in the community. Another legend, Feel the Force. Chief Chirper, Trenton Dodson, Justa Juan, Cisco Deer. Greetings. Norman says greetings from Honduras. There you go.
Wow.
Reaching far and wide.
Wow.
Straight out Coruscant. We have Brett on Fett.
Brett,
Mitchell. Rob Chewbacca, Paul Morales, Josh B, The Roo, Marky D, Jesse Carter, Mark Chaplin, the man that likes a variant, multiple variants, and miss cards and what have you. He's a collector of all that good stuff. Braddock, Mike Rendar, Gerard Coyle, how you doing, mate?
Hey, Gerard.
Bill Polk, Jedi Berry, Fetmatic,
Jedi Berry,
TVC Mackin, Riley Bob, both channel supporters. So thank you guys. Hi there, Riley Bob.
Chief Chair.
Justin Welch, John Charlton, Keith Guppy.
Keith, what's up, man?
William Randall, Smuggler's Canyon, which is the Christian. We had him on last time. Shame we haven't got him on this time, actually, because comedic value about his picks. So, Scott Layton, he's from the UK Vintage Collection Group. I know that name. Andre Huncheng, Lee Smith, loads and loads of names. Bill Pagan, Chris Curran. I could keep going. Toski Station. There's loads. But
got Evan in there as well.
Evan's here, is he? Oh yeah, more high ground. How you doing? Actually, he would have been another one for comedic value for his picks. So, so later on in the stream, we are going to be doing a little game where we're going to be picking our sort of perfect wave, if you like. So this is not like our top 5 figures. These are like a wave of this, as if Hasbro would give us a wave. So maybe like 2 new figures, 2 repaints or kit bashes or whatever, and then like a reissue from either TVC 1.0 or a previous line or whatever. So that should be quite good fun to do later on. But first of all, we did want to talk about the news that hit this week. I made a video about it. A few people have made a video about it. There's been a lot of talk on social media about it. And that's the live stream from Marvel, Hasbro Marvel, that had the showed off the non-plastic packaging, and we kind of all know that it's a global thing for Hasbro, and it's gonna hit Star Wars. Basically, it's just gonna. And if you don't think it's gonna, I would just suggest having a read of Yakface's most recent article on his website. He has a bit on there where he's updated, where he kind of almost tells you what it's going to be like. And unfortunately, Black Series is one thing because they come in like a box, and there's nothing sort of nostalgic about it. But when it comes to the vintage collection and the retro collection, which is really what we want to sort of talk about, it's not good news. It's not good news. So we'll start with you, Tyler, because I know Tyler, for anyone that doesn't know, he is a massive army builder. So he likes the figures loose, but I do know that you collect them carded as well. So what are your initial thoughts on it, basically?
Well, I just want to apologize to anyone if I'm coming in crackly. My internet's normally fine, but I don't know what's going on with it today. So sorry if you guys are having problems hearing me. Okay, it's a little crackly in my headphones here. So, but anyway, I mean, in summary, it's not good news. I'm very opposed to it because of my concerns for the health of the line. I mean, obviously, in general terms, I'm very much for environmentalism and doing things that promote sort of the health of the planet. But when you look at the packaging for the vintage collection, it's already fully recyclable. So you're not accomplishing anything here by changing the packaging except doing damage to the line. So I just it's not great news. I love the vintage Kenner aesthetic, and I think that it's the perfect formula because we have the highest quality, arguably 3.75 super articulated figures that we've ever received ever in the history of the line, in terms of the the quality, the articulation, the likenesses. All of that is just like peak 3.75 ever. And you have the allure and the draw of the nostalgic Kenner style packaging. So it's the perfect formula for success and for the line to thrive. And now they're going to be moving away from that. And so I do worry about the implications on the health of the line in terms of profit, and how that will affect, the budget, and how that will affect new tooling, and how that will affect customers and a waning consumer base potentially. So there's a lot to talk about. I don't want to talk too much, but yeah.
That's cool. I just want to interrupt you very quickly because Chris Curran has done a super chat here, and I don't want to miss it when it goes up. So he's saying TVC is dead without the bubble, and that and also I just want to put it out there that I'm not one of these people that's like against saving the planet. Of course I want the planet to be okay, and I want things to be done to help, but I just don't think that this is a particularly good way of going about it. I think there's so much more they can do. And also somebody made a good point on your live stream last night. I think it was Matt anyway, in the comments, or it might have been a comment on one of my videos, that said that the factories in China, they use factories in China, and China is one of the biggest carbon footprint countries in the world, if not the biggest.
Exactly.
I don't know if they're as big or small as India, for example.
Yeah.
But it's huge. So I know they could say, well, we want to do our little bit, but I'm with you, Tyler. I don't really see that sort of, especially with what really is probably quite a small amount of their overall sort of offering in the vintage collection, retro collection is quite small when you think of board games and kiddie toys and all that kind of stuff. Leave the adult collecting stuff alone. And also I'd like to point out as well that I know that there's other things going on in the world right now, and this probably doesn't seem that important, but again, like you said last night, Matt, a lot of people collect this stuff to get away from like the real world issues and stuff like that. This is a hobby. and when you're taking away the hobby, that's not a good thing either for, even going as far as somebody's mental health, I guess,
Yes.
So Matt, on to you, mate. You're a Black Series collector as well as, you like the cards. I can see you've got plenty of vintage Kenner behind. So obviously you're of a certain age where the whole vintage collection is very nostalgic to you as well. So first of all, from a Black Series point of view, are you going to buy them if they're like those Marvel Legends one where you just see a picture of the figure?
Well, yeah, the one thing I do take them out now, because when I do reviews, I do take them out. I didn't used to when I first started, so I'm not that worried about it. But I was like saying to you earlier, I mean, if they did this sort of thing now where they opened them up, I'd still be happy with that. But the problem is this can't display as well, can it? On a you can't have this out, and people can start taking stuff out and taking the heads, and the dust gets in a bit easier, doesn't it? That's the only thing. But yeah, it's TVC. I'm sort of bit up, if it happens, it happens. But
would it change your collecting habits?
I've actually stopped. I haven't bought the deluxe ones, the Boba Fett, the Ahsoka. I refuse to. I've not bought them just for that because there's no bubble. So I've started already in a way. So because I know I don't open them. I saw one the other day. Some guy took one out, the Boba Fett, and all the paint was completely skewed with on the head. I don't know if anyone else has seen it. I saw one. There was really bad paint. Of course, you can't tell, can you? You can't tell without looking at it. So yeah.
That's a point that I forgot to mention. But whether or not you care about the aesthetics of the packaging or if packaging means anything at all to you, I think we can all agree that we like to be able to see the product and inspect the paint applications and the quality control. Nobody wants to get a blind box and maybe have a jacked up figure. I certainly don't want that. I don't want to have to order 5 of a figure just to roll the dice and hopefully get a good one. I mean, I
think it's going to cut down on people going to a shop and buying it. It's going to be all online, isn't it? Because no one's going to trust buying a figure from Walmart or from our shops. You don't know what's happened to it. So
it's interesting. I had my deluxe Boba come through last week, I think it was, and when I actually opened it up, the leg was just rattling around in the box. His leg had just completely come off. Fortunately, with those hip joints, I did get it back on, and it seems to be functioning fine. But it's one of those things again. I mean, that was bought online, one of the fan channels. I think had that had a bubble, the fan channels would not have sent that out. They would have looked at their leg floating around in a bubble and said, right, that's clearance or wherever it's going. So I think even from their end, it's going to make it very difficult because they're going to start seeing people sending stuff back. And I think from certainly the smaller fan channels, they're going to start to struggle more. Hasbro can probably deal with a lot of returns, but Star Action Figures, in-demand toys, they're the sort of people that are going to struggle with them.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I just want to read this one out quick. So if it does go this way, what would be your last final? Well, I would want it to be the last one of the original 96 because I think that even though Hasbro have never claimed or said that they're going to finish the 96, I think they've almost got a moral obligation to do it.
They do.
It's they've been hitting a lot of them out recently in the last couple of years, especially, and for it's an adult collecting line. Most of the people that collect it are our age, I would say, like a huge percentage, and those people want the original 96. So, all right, let me just move this comment. So, John, on to you, mate. The action figure grader, my buddy. Obviously, you're full-on carded collector. You get them graded. So, how's this going to affect your collecting of the vintage collection?
Well, again, thanks for having me on. Tyler and Lewis, it's a pleasure to meet you guys for the first time. Matt, I've known obviously for a little bit, but no, you're right. I'm a carded collector, and I am one of the crazy people that actually will grade some of these TVC. I just love the way they present. It's a hobby of mine, but I do think that I'm similar to Matt in that I've already I haven't bought any of the deluxe figures. I just have no desire to have boxes. I think one thought that I've had that it's probably not going to be popular, but I'm coming at it from a shareholder perspective. In a former life, I used to be an investment banker. I did like acquisitions and public offerings on the stock market, all that stuff. So I'm looking at it. What is Hasbro's reasoning beyond virtue signaling that, hey, we're here for the environment? Yeah. Beyond that, why would they go to this box? I think that they know, they have to know, right, that there's going to be an uproar and that they're going to lose some business for people like me. I mean, there's a lot of people like me based on the feedback on my channel. If they know that, but they're still going to pursue it with the TVC line, because it's such a minuscule part of their overall operating budget, and because they make more of a higher profit percentage-wise on Black Series figures, it makes you wonder if Hasbro is doing it purposefully to kill off the TVC. I know that's not popular, but I could see that being a reasoning, in their back of their minds, to say this allows us an exit ramp from TVC, because it will almost create an impetus for decreased sales, and we can say, hey, look, you guys aren't buying them anymore. We're going to go ahead and cancel the line again. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's what they're thinking, but I could see that being a reason, because think about how annoying we are as a collecting community. All the uproar we complain about repaints, we complain about reissues, we complain about rocker ankles, whatever it is, right? Hasbro, they probably, some people within Hasbro probably get tired of putting up with it. And if they move over to all these boxes, does it give them a way to exit the TVC gracefully and without taking any blame for it, to a certain extent? Because look, here's the sales, guys. You guys aren't buying them anymore. If you don't want them anymore, we're going to concentrate only on Black Series, only on Mission Fleet or whatever else they got, because that's what's profitable for us anyway. So it's just a thought. I'm not saying that's what's going on, but it's something I've come up with.
I was saying, okay, cool.
So no, Lewis, you go.
Well, I was going to say, John, I think I agree. It's definitely money driven. I don't know if it's necessarily a conscious decision, but I mean, all of this stuff is being driven by governments. It's being driven by global governments, and it's being driven by legislation. And billion-dollar companies will get billions of dollars tax incentives to lose this plastic. So for Hasbro, to lose all of their plastic is going to be worth billions. To lose some TVC collectors, okay, they'll lose some profit. But in the global scheme of things, a guy is not sitting in a boardroom saying, let's plant some trees, let's save some fish. They're looking at the bottom line and saying, we can make some money here. We can save some money. Yeah. And it's all about money. So whether or not consciously they're trying to kill TVC, I don't know if that would necessarily be. But I could imagine they would sit there and say, well, if that's a casualty of this, so be it. It's a casualty. And I can imagine that may be the take on it.
Yeah. That's a great point. What I was going to say as well, John, is that the thing is with the vintage collection versus the Black Series in terms of sales, like the Black Series have got a lot more people, I guess, and the average person just walking in a store and there's one on the pegs or whatever. But what they don't have is like someone like Tyler that will buy, 300 Stormtroopers.
No, I do too. I mean, I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah. I know you are. Yeah, I know you buy multiples. I buy multiples, and the Black Series are getting so expensive. I don't think people really. And also, I think over the past year, there's been so many people that have moved from Black Series to the vintage collection. I've seen on my own channel as well. So there's always that kind of thing. And speaking to a few people in the UK, I kind of get the feeling that the vintage collection outsells the Black Series, and from online stores anyway. Obviously, if you walked into a Smith's or something, there's probably more Black Series choice than there is vintage collection. But
definitely.
So I mean, I really do hope not that they're trying to kill the line. Yeah. You're throwing a dagger into my heart saying that, John.
Yeah. I just think that the TVC is getting so good now, and now they're covering them up. It's like, why are you doing that? So we can't enjoy them because all your carded collectors. It's like, well, you got to get them out. It's like, no.
I just want to read this out. Rob Chewbacca, thank you so much, mate. That's too generous, but thank you. He says, my Grail piece is my Ahsoka signed figure. I have 120 carded figures and 60 open on display. If they take away the bubble, I will lose interest. This feels like Padme telling Anakin not to go to the dark side on Mustafar. And this the thing is, not that video with the plastic, I would say 80% of the comments were like that. Some were just blatantly saying, I'm out. Simple as that. They're out. Other people were saying, I'd lose interest over time. Other people were saying I'd just buy less, or I'm only now ever going to buy one to open, which is what I will do. You know, Hasbro will lose immediately 50% of my money, maybe more, because I buy more than two, for example. So and if it's like a 501st clone, then I'll be buying 10, for example. I won't do that now. Do you know what I mean? Because, well, I'll still buy a few army builders, but I'm not going to buy a carded. I don't need the carded version anymore, you know. But a standard figure that comes out, I don't need two anymore. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. And I think there's a lot of people that are like that. Lewis, thank you so much, Rob, by the way, and also thank you, Chris, earlier on for those super chats. That's awesome. Really appreciate that, guys. So Lewis, like you are a completely opener. You don't really give a monkey's about the packaging.
No, I do and I don't. Yeah, I mean, I open 99.9% of my figures are open. I have a very small carded focus, which I blame Evan for, actually, which is all just Stormtrooper figures on TVC cards. So I have, like, you know, Han, Luke, Stormtrooper. I've still got George Lucas Stormtrooper from the the original. So anything that's a Stormtrooper on a TVC card, I do have as a slight focus. So I've got about 20 carded figures, you know. So for one, I've got about 3,000 loose figures. So, you know, there's a big difference. So for me, it's about opening. It's about the figures. You know, we had this conversation between the five of us at SWTVC the other day. Is, you know, what are we all about? And for me, it's about pushing the articulation. It's about pushing better quality figures. It's about pushing for more. But yes, the packaging and the look is still a big part of that. And I'd be an idiot, even though for me it's not top of those sort of 5 things in that list. I'd be an idiot to say it's not important, and I'd certainly be an idiot to say I don't care about it, because, you know, the fact that you're talking about people potentially jumping out has an impact on my collecting. So again, it's important to me for that reason. I think really, well, I mean, I grew up with the Kenner figures, so the look is, again, it means something to me, and I think they're the best looking cards on pegs when you see them hanging. I don't think there's ever been anything that looked better, and I keep the cards. I mean, I've got them here. I got these in today. You know, I cut the bubbles off, but I do keep the card backs. So I've never done that. You know, I've collected right through from Power of the Force 2 days. I've never kept card backs from them, from legacy figures or anything like that. So they just don't have that draw. So even though I'm not carded, I still have that connection to that. So, you know, I wouldn't want to lose it either, to be honest. I think it's important.
Yeah, I you know, as I said, 80% of my comments were, you know, either I'm out or I'm going to buy less. But then, you know, maybe 10% were like, it doesn't bother me because I open them anyway. And I replied to a few of them, you know, because it's, as you just said there, it's like the vintage collection is kind of propped up by the carded, or not the vintage collection, the 3.75 inch scale is propped up by the carded collector. It's just a fact.
Yeah, well, even if it's only 50%, it's still 50% of what sells now, and it's still a lot.
Because it's adult collectors that are buying this. If you brought out the legacy collection now and put it in stores, I've got a feeling it would just, you know, it would fail, because it's kids aren't buying these anymore unless you price them at some ridiculously cheap price where a mum can go in and just buy a load for, you know, her kid's birthday party where she's going to give them all out or whatever, you know.
They're not spin master price, are they? So,
Sorry, Tyler.
I was just going to say, but then quality will go down. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anybody that's a loose collector, a 3.75 inch collector that wants 3.75 to continue and keep getting those figures, those awesome figures that we're getting from the Mandalorian, ones that will no doubt come out for Kenobi and Ahsoka and all this amazing Star Wars content that's going to be coming in the future. If you want a loose 3.75 inch figure, then the packaging cannot change, because the amount of people that can just go, no, I'm not buying these carded figures anymore.
And at the moment, we're on an absolute high. I mean, it's literally like handicapping a winning racehorse. You know, we are at the top of our game. We've got the best quality, and the whole thing is just working so well together. And I think that's where you have to look at this and say, this is not a conscious, certainly not a conscious Star Wars team at Hasbro's decision. This is a decision that's coming higher above them. And I'm sure the Star Wars team, as soon as they heard this news, they themselves probably thought, this is not good. You know, this is not going to be good for our line. And I think that's where, if Hasbro would turn around tomorrow and said, we're going to change the packaging because we need a refresh, you'd say they're idiots. But I think because there's this issue that this issue that's bigger than this, you know, that really it's being pushed that way, and I think that's
yeah.
Could I respond to that real quick, Tim?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and also to respond to action figure graders' points earlier as well, that ties into all this. It's all about ESG scores. Look into that, you guys in the audience, if you don't know what I'm talking about, ESG scores. But I don't think that this is a measure to intentionally kill the vintage collection. And the reason why is because they haven't been sort of scaling back on the line, at least not recently. In fact, they've been adding expressions. So the line has been gaining momentum between the new deluxe expressions and the throne room that was offered through Hasbro Pulse. These are examples of new things that they're trying, and I don't think they'd be doing that if they were trying to get rid of the trooper packs. Yes, of course. How could I forget that? I'm the trooper guy, right? But I don't think that it could have been reasonable to say that they were potentially trying to kill the line, but I think right now the vintage collection is doing really, really good, and I think that's kind of the whole tragedy of this whole thing, is that they're just chopping the momentum off at the knees right now when the line is on a high. It's just the quality is going up. I think sales are going up, and it's just really a shame. But as far as the Black Series go, and I mean, I'm not super huge in that community, so maybe I'm biased and I'm just seeing sort of what's in my own bubble, community bubble. But I've seen a lot of people leaving the Black Series recently because of the price going up and the quality going down. A lot of people. I don't know if there's some kind of mass exodus from the Black Series going on right now, but it seems like that sometimes. It really does. Yeah. So,
I'm on the UK Black Series page on Facebook, and it was like a couple of figures a day. Well, people are selling their whole collections now daily on Black Series, just getting the lot going. Had enough. They've had enough. It's scary. So,
well, prices are still going up.
Yeah, and also each live stream that comes about, like every time there's a new live stream, I think, we're going to get hit in the TVC now. The Black Series we're going to see some amazing stuff for the Black Series. We're going to be super jealous, like it used to be in 2020. Every time they had a stream, it'd be like, look at all this amazing stuff that's coming out of the Black Series, and we've got a Gonk droid. Thanks very much, Hasbro. Do you know what I mean? But now it's almost like become a parody, those live streams, where the vintage collection just trumps the Black Series, like not once, not twice, but 3, 4, the last 5 live streams has been straight after. Everyone's like, oh, well, that's a win for TVC. They've won that again. It's not a competition. I know that. But, you can only, it's impossible not to compare it afterwards, isn't it?
But Tim, here's my point on this, though. If all of us can agree that changing the packaging for the vintage collection will severely hurt sales, if we can all agree on that, I think that's probably a fact, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Then Hasbro either doesn't care about the customer, right? Or they're so out of touch with what they think sales are going to do once they move over to this deluxe style packaging. It's one of those two, in my opinion. So something's got to give there with our logic, and I 100% agree with everything that's been said about the TVC, in my opinion. And I'm fairly new to the game, but it's as the figures are as gorgeous, the card backs, everything are as gorgeous as they've ever been, in my opinion. I mean, it's fantastic what all the new releases and the pre-orders, but to even hint in these live streams, if Hasbro's even hinting that they're going to move over to new packaging without even getting some sort of feedback from the community or internally, the Star Wars team that's in control of the TVC line, they have to know that it's going to severely hurt sales, right? So something's got to give there. There's a disconnect between what we see and what Hasbro's trying to push. And I think Lewis raised a great point, in my opinion, about the tax incentives. I mean, that's a huge thing. And maybe they expect the sales to not drop off that much. I don't know, but it just I can't make. There's some kind of logic there that just doesn't make sense to me as to what's going on. So
Yeah, I completely take those points on board, and it does seem it seems like somebody's crazy, doesn't it? It's like, what are you doing? Like even hinting at it. And at the moment, we are speculating, because it hasn't been officially revealed. But I think we all kind of know their pledge was globally across all of their brands. And Yak Face has said that, and we have to trust what Jason says because he's never wrong about anything else, is he? About things coming out and what have you. If he says something, then I kind of listen to it because it, he's a weight in the community for me. So,
Tim,
I think that the backlash that they're getting now, just on the back of Marvel Legends showing it, and the fact that we're speculating, will be nothing compared to what happens when they actually reveal it.
Yeah,
the live stream where they reveal it.
Wow, that's going to be.
It'll be like a tidal wave. I'm sure
they're well aware of it.
It's going to be a bad day for them.
But if you look at, Fortnite, Transformers, a lot of their other brands have already made the shift, or they're already making that shift. TVC, they are clinging on. They're clinging on as long as they can, and it's going to be the last one. If it changes, it's going to be the last one to be done. So they know how important it is, but whether it changes now or 12 months, it's still going to have that massive impact, isn't it? So unless they feel that they can do enough within that time of it now, where we are to when it changes, whether they can feel enough to strengthen the line, that's down to Hasbro. They've got to play it right, haven't they? And it's just a quick question, actually, for Matt and John as well. I mean, you said about neither of you picked up deluxe packs. Did you not go for the Army Builder packs either?
Oh, I did get the Stormtrooper ones. I did get those.
Just curious, because none of those, they've all sold. I mean, the Death Trooper one, I'm not sure at the moment, but they've all sold very well. So there is an argument that stuff has sold very well without the packaging. So there is a sideline, if you like, to TVC at the moment that's making its own tracks. And I just wonder if that's what they're trying to slowly move more figures into deluxe, into packs, into other things. And we'll end up with 5 a year on a TVC card or something. I don't know.
Well, this is it, Lewis. Like what you said about those packs there, but they're going to sell well because they're Army Builder packs, aren't they?
Yeah.
So does that mean we're never going to get an armorer or or a Rancor keeper or or whatever because they're not an Army Builder and they can't be put in those 4 packs? Do you know what I mean? It's
they in a way they need, if they're going to do this, they're going to need more vehicles because if we're going to get them out, if we're going to get them out of the packaging, we're going to need to put them in something. So I think they're going to need to do more vehicles, which they're not doing, especially army figures. I mean, that's the reason I got the Stormtroopers, because I wanted to put them in the Mandalorian troop transport. That was the only reason I got 2 boxes.
Play sets all coming out. They are pushing people to open figures, definitely.
I just can't get over it. It's like you're messing with something that's 40 years old, and that is the whole USP of it.
Yeah. No one else is doing it. Like He-Man and Mattel have come back out. They are exactly the same.
Not yet.
Retro He-Man have become plastic. I bet it does. Plastic free. I bet it doesn't. Those whatever they're called. No.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Over that 40 years that we've had the 3.75 line, whether it's Power Force 2, whether it's whatever you look at, there is no iteration of a packaging that doesn't have a bubble of some sort. I mean, it's so alien to try and think of something that doesn't have a bubble, and that's the difficulty, really.
Yeah.
Hey Tim, one other thing.
Sorry, John, just let me just this real quick, and then I'll bring you in. Riley Bob says, "Odd that they mess with TVC and drop the line before Black Series. TVC is the true scale. Plus, what's the word on the retro collection bubble?" So, from my understanding, is because it's a global thing, it's all packaging. So that's board games, dollies, and unfortunately action figures. And the Black Series might feel like it's an easier thing for them to do with the Marvel Legends, because essentially it was a box anyway, and all they've got to do is get rid of the small plastic window and put a picture of the figure in instead. But the vintage collection is different because, as I said, it's a 40-year-old concept, isn't it? That card and bubble, the racetrack design, it's impossible not to do it without the bubble, as far as I'm concerned. So, but thank you, Riley Bob. Appreciate that, mate. Channel member as well. Really appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Sorry, John. Go for it.
Well, I think going back to what you just said about their press releases from whatever it was, 2019, and all packaging is going to go, no plastic. this idea makes zero sense, or it kind of goes against that. But one thing in the non-fungible token world, NFTs, if you guys are familiar, it's like digital art, that takes up a massive amount of energy. It's extremely environmentally unfriendly. And what a lot of creators in the NFT world do is that they offset it, right? They say, okay, we use this much energy to create this NFT. We're going to offset it by doing this for the environment, whatever it is, planting trees, whatever. And as silly as that sounds, is that the only other option, right? Could Hasbro negotiate something on these tax credits saying, hey, look, our sales go away if we get rid of the plastic bubble. Can we negotiate some kind of thing where we offset these plastic bubbles with some kind of environmentally friendly thing? So I don't know. It's a terrible idea probably, but that's the only other option I could think of if they're really unless they're just saying, sorry, it's no plastic on anything.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, but
yeah.
What's a great idea, Tyler? Sorry, what part of that was a great idea? Like
offsetting.
Yeah.
Planting trees or something like that. Helping to clean up the ocean. Whatever, as an alternative to getting rid of a 40-plus-year-old legacy. I don't know. Surely there was a way to get around this, but
yeah. I mean, they forget that the figure is plastic. That's the main thing. The figure is plastic. Well, are they not going to make? Are they going to make plastics? Are they going to carve figures out of wood now or something?
Well, that goes back to the question, doesn't it, Matt? Of where does the product start and the packaging end? And it's we've always said all along for TVC, the packaging is the product, and that's where other people have thrown out ideas. I know Victoria, I think, threw out on her Instagram, put it in a slipcase, so it's then inside a cardboard package. But does that still count as package? Somewhere out there must be a definition.
This is the thing. I was going to come on to that in a second as it goes, because I was thinking about the Bad Batch 4-pack. So that's got a window on it where you can see all 4 figures. Now, if they released that 4-pack without that window and you couldn't see, but inside had 4 carded and bubble figures, then nobody would care, because you would open it because you want the 4. I know there's some people, probably a small amount of people, that maybe just keep it as a 4-pack, John, and get it graded. But most people would get them out and have them 4 separate cards.
Open them.
I did.
Or open them. Yeah.
I think I opened 5 packs of those.
Well, that's the thing. Like, look, exactly. I bought a few of those. So I opened 4, like a whole pack of 4. I've kept one in the box as a 4, and so I bought 3 of the things. Like, it's crazy.
He's going to get this graded one now.
But now
I bought 5 of them.
I'll only buy 5. But now if they did something like that and they had not a plastic, not what we all know, I'd buy 1 and just open them. So it's a depressing thought, and I really, I don't think at this point in time there's any reversing it necessarily, because they're probably too far down the line. If they've shown what the Marvel looks like, Black Series can't be too far around the corner. I think Jason even alluded to it on his Twitter, saying it won't actually be long. So maybe even on the next live stream in May or something,
we could get some
celebration. You might see the Black Series one, and then we'll have to see.
Again, we had this conversation, the SWTVC guys. We were sort of saying, if it were to happen, you couldn't just slip it into the next wave. It doesn't make sense. You kind of need to make it a grander gesture. So you almost feel that a new show, something like Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's a chance to go, right, new show, new packaging, new figures.
Yeah.
And so you worry, actually, we could be seeing it sooner than we think. It just seems odd if it was the next wave, all of a sudden they said, oh, by the way, those Bespin guards, they're now going to be in a cardboard box. It would just be a bit weird. And then what do they do? Do they keep numbering them? Do they change the numbers? Do they there's a lot to think about there, but it doesn't feel right just pretending it hasn't changed.
And we've seen images of card backs for figures that are quite far ahead, I would imagine, like the modal nodes guys. I think is in the next wave, but when is that next wave due to drop? Some retailers have that as October, November. I know that's still 2022. So is it the first wave of 2023? And could that be maybe like Andor or something, because I think the show for Andor drops at the end of this year. So perhaps if you're going by like the Mandalorian, you had the Mandalorian at the end of 2019, and then some figures at beginning, I think it was then, and then some figures in early 2020, I think. As you say, maybe that is what they'll do. They'll wait for like a definitive cutoff. But as you say, it's difficult, isn't it? When they do all these live streams, they show stuff that's quite far ahead in the future. Some of it you see images of, some of it you don't. But ultimately, you don't really know when this stuff's coming. So it's a bit.
If it was the Star Wars Stormtrooper that they bring out, the first one, I would lose my mind, because that's the one I desperately want for my carded collection. A very small carded collection. That is the one figure that I've been waiting for years.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
I think
they
do
haven't
that.
shown the card on that yet. So can you imagine it?
If they do it to the Return of the Jedi retro collection, that's just going to upset everyone who's just got the other sets, isn't it? It's going to not going to.
Retro collection is a question. I mean, I can imagine far more people keep those carded than they do, than TBC. So that one, you really have to think: is that going to kill off retro?
For sure.
Would.
Yeah.
I kind of feel it will.
Yeah.
Well, the whole point of it is to mimic exactly what it was, apart from the weird, perished cards and stuff.
That's why I opened them.
Whereas TVC could survive because a lot of people buy them to open for the articulation and the excellent quality and all of that. There's nothing there for the retro collection, really. I mean, some people open them to fit in with their old school collection.
Yes,
but I only buy one now. I buy one of those and I open them, and that's it. I don't buy huge numbers, and I don't keep them carded. But
so just quickly, I just wanted to talk about the Jabba's Palace set. So that was talked about having that Bib Fortuna on a card, they said. And I think I asked in one of the Q&As, is that going to be on card with a, is it going to be like the Maldo crease? Is he going to have some accessories, or, is it what kind of bubble? And they were quite sort of coy on, they even said, we haven't really decided how we're going to present it yet, I think they said. And we haven't seen pictures of that yet. But I would suggest that there are some people, maybe even in this live stream, that have bought that set and they'll sell the set, but they want the carded Bib Fortuna.
Yep.
And if that changes, because we haven't seen it yet, what are they going to,
I was actually thinking about that exact set, because, and I don't know if it's actually going to take this long, but they have it projected for summer 2023. That's a whole year from now. So that could very well affect that bib. And I was thinking about that exact figure when we were going to discuss all this whole thing.
How many people bought an extra Razor Crest for the carded figures? I know I didn't, but I know you did.
I did. Tim, real quick, somebody in your comment feed commented that it would be nice if they waited until VC 300 to end the line, and I agree with that. I think that'd be a nice sort of, if this has to happen, that would be a nice dropping off point. And also assuming, of course, that they've finished the 96, obviously, of course. But that would be a nice round number to sort of close the line at. But instead of just doing it abruptly at VC 273, that's the last figure. It's just kind of weird, I don't know. But
Delvian saying, would a compromise be to finish the 96 with the bubbles, maybe as part of a HasLab and newer characters and new packaging? But then that's the thing. It's like, even if you buy something from HasLab, what's the guarantee that doesn't have to be plastic-free packaging or something? Do you know what I mean? The time that it's going to take them to sort of make that be 2024, and then it, the whole zero plastic is really ingrained in everything, and you just, I don't know. It's with as we said about that Bad Batch 4-pack, maybe there's some way that there's a clause in their sort of agreement with whoever they've got to agree to that says that the packaging is part of the product, so long as it is in like a box. And if that is the case, then give me all of them in those white shippers that you put the Proto Fett out in. Just do it all like that.
Well, you put a picture on it
if you have to.
So it can sit on a shelf, don't you? You'd still need a picture on it in some degree, some sort of artwork. But it could literally be a slipcase. It doesn't need to be a box as such, does it?
Yes. There's a guy named Delta Dorn Instagram that he made a concept, kind of like a slip box that that Blue Milk's book came in. It kind of looked like that, but it was designed like a card back, like a TVC card back, and maybe the whole card and bubble could be inside of that box, so they could sell them as a box, but it's like a slip case.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
Yeah, I said on our stream last night they could just have the box with a card back in there, just the card back, and if you really wanted to, you could go and get yourself a custom bubble and put the bubble on yourself, and just just give us the card back and the figure loose, and we could do our own bubble if we have to.
Proof cards,
yeah,
that would be nice. Yeah. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre because you could sell a bubble as a product and then stick it on. Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? The wording on how these things are determined.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly bring up Bill Polk here because he's mentioned Shea Vizsla and he's saying this is unrelated to what I want to say basically, but the Shea Vizsla thing just sort of prompted it. So Shea Vizsla is like quite an expensive figure on the secondary market. Agreed, right?
Yeah.
Ahsoka was or is still. So there are people that collect these things that I wouldn't say they buy it for the love of it, but the whole value of it is something, you know. And if you spent a lot on a figure that you didn't have in your collection because you didn't buy it back in 2010, and you spent $300, you know, what's going to happen to what do you guys think? And I want to ask John quickly. First of all, what do you think the value of people's collections is going to do? Is it going to go up because there's no more product to buy and these things become more valuable, or do you think people are going to hemorrhage their collections and sell it all because there's nothing more to collect and they're just like, well, I'm done with it now, I might as well just get rid of everything, therefore flooding the market? What do you reckon?
I mean, it's a great question. Me personally, I think that TVC will continue to hold their value, and collectors that leave the line, like me personally, if Hasbro goes over to the Vox Deluxe style packaging, me personally, I won't buy any of the new releases. But what I will do is go back and collect some of the ones I don't have, like Grievous or Commander Greed. You know, I've got a number of them, especially since I came into the game so late. So I do think, yes, there's going to be some collectors that will hemorrhage and will just sell it all. I don't think it's that as big as you maybe are worried that it will be. But what I really think will happen that a lot of people aren't talking about, you know, I obviously cover vintage Kenner prices, and they're as high as they've ever been. What I personally think will happen, it will drive up vintage Kenner prices even more, because collectors, you know, me personally, I'll never have the entire vintage collection line, right? And money that I set aside each month for vintage collection pre-orders, I'm not doing that anymore. So I'm either going to go back and buy some of the old TVC 1.0 that I'm missing, that I really want, like Grievous, or I'm going to plow it right back into vintage Kenner products. And I think that it will take that next leg up. Vintage Kenner stuff will. So, but it's a fascinating question, and who knows what happens. But that's my 2 cents.
What about you, Tyler? What do you think?
It's a very good question. I think what could happen is like you said, a bunch of people will probably be like, nope, I'm out, and they'll sell off their collections, and the aftermarket will be flooded with stuff in the short term. But I do think in the long term, once the people that stick in the hobby and in the sort of collecting world, you know, fast forward 5 years, and the value and price will definitely go way up, because it's never going to be made like that again. But I do think in the short term we could see aftermarket prices go down pretty heavily as people sell things off. But
I agree.
Yeah, because I guess there is that, you know, when we look at reissues, it definitely does affect. It does affect, doesn't it? The price of the the original, even though it's different and it's essentially a variant or whatever, it does affect it without a doubt. Because there's some people that go, well, I don't need to spend $200 on that anymore, because I can spend $15 and have it on the wall and it will look exactly the same as it was before. And if you take that out of the game, Hasbro are no longer producing something that looks like it did 10 years ago for your collections, then you're right. I still think in the line there's always those high ticket ones that have always been a high ticket, you know. But then again, I said that about the Emperor. I always bring up the Emperor's Royal Guard. Like, he used to be £100 figure every day
$200
of the week. Yeah. Sorry, John?
Yeah, I was saying, like here in the U.S., the original issue Emperor's Royal Guard. I mean, I saw very regularly $200 for a near mint plus example or graded. I mean, 200, 250 even. I mean, it was crazy. And then
And now it's that one. That's what the one that's been worst hit for me, I think. Anyway, and even the Clone Wars Anakin, that used to be £100 figure as well. You know, 80 to £100. And the original ones, if they're unpunched, still keep their value because the new ones aren't unpunched. So
I remember when I started getting back into this in about 2017, you could still get a lot of the TVC 1.0 stuff for fairly reasonable prices. But you fast forward 5-6 years as people have sucked up those ones on the aftermarket, since TVC's come back and people want to catch up on the old stuff, those prices have really skyrocketed because there's just less of them out there now, less open ones or less still sealed ones out there now. So
that was kind of my question, because like when the TVC wasn't a thing, they weren't really valuable. So it's like, if there's nothing more for somebody to collect, does it eventually just like become like a nothing for people? I don't know. Like,
I think eventually it'll go up. I think eventually it'll go. There's always toy collectors out there, isn't there, who will pick up a line of something, whether it's He-Man or anything. There's always people that are going to kind of find that niche, and you've only got to look. There are people now who buy Kenner figures carded who don't buy anything more modern than Kenner. So that's just their focus. And I think it would go the same way. Give it 10 years or so, you would find people will be looking back at this line if it finishes, and sort of saying, well, that's a line that I want to now pick up. So I think I agree with what Tyler and John were saying, and I think it would sort of take a dip, but then I think ultimately it's you've got to sit on it, haven't you?
Hey, what other quick point, Tim?
Yeah,
go back and look at like the Clone Wars line or the Legacy Collection line. Right. For a long time, a lot of those were not worth a lot of money. But if you look at some of the prices for those now, and that's a deadline, right? That's a deadline. But there's several in there that I've documented on my channel in the price updates where it's like $200-300 for a Legacy Collection figure or for a Clone Wars figure. So I think it'll probably play that same game, right?
Yeah, I mean, Legacy Collection, I don't know what it is about the Legacy Collection. I mean, the figures are great for a start. There's some really sought after figures in there, and I think it's weird, isn't it, when you look at like the Power of the Force, which is so much older, but there was just so much of it, and it's worthless, isn't it? Most of
it's the He-Man, the He-Man figures.
He's been to the gym before.
He's guns, right?
Yeah, he said to me, he goes, "Oh yeah, I'll be on the live stream later. I've got to go to the gym." Yeah,
I had to look good. I had to look good for the show.
Had to get the pump, didn't you?
Party pump.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's certainly an interesting thing, and I don't like to focus too much on the value of it, because ultimately, I like to enjoy the figures and that. But I realise that a lot of people, it's the fact that somebody would have spent X amount of money to complete their collection or get a figure they never had or whatever, and then potentially, because it's not being made anymore in terms of the whole line, for example, there's nothing more to add to that collection. So maybe it's time, I don't know, maybe it's time to sell up or something, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But it's all speculating, as we said. There was something I just wanted to, Smuggler's Canyon, so I put it up. So there's all the guys on the big screen are big hitters. We need to mobilize and fight for TVC. We've done it before. And he's saying that because I was having a bit of a conversation about, he was saying, well, what can we do about it if it happens? And I was like, well, the minute it gets revealed, I'm not going to come out and say, oh, I love it. You know what I mean? I'm going to be on it. I'm going to do everything I can possibly do to make them understand that they're making a huge, huge mistake.
Yes.
So that's just me. If anyone wants to join me on that, you're welcome.
We're with you.
Yeah.
We're with you too.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's a big mistake.
Definitely.
Anyway, we've got 250 people on right now, and I think that's a record. I think.
Wow.
How many of them are on antidepressants right now because of this topic?
Oh dear.
Well, we're going to lighten things up a bit now. So before you came on today, guys, I asked you to come up with 5 figures that you want to see in the next wave. So you're at Hasbro, and you've got the decision to say what the next wave is going to be, and it's not the top 5 figures that you want, because that's, you know, a wave would never be like that, would it? Let's face it. So this is about how Hasbro would construct a wave, and I'm thinking maybe like 2 new figures, like all new, like new sculpts, maybe a couple of kit bashes made from other figures, or repaint or something like that, and then one just like repack from a previous line or Vintage Collection 1.0, and we'll fill out this little spreadsheet, and then the people in the chat can cane us completely for our choices, cane each other for our choices, or we can applaud. Yeah, you should be working at Hasbro.
Let's hope we haven't all got the same ones.
We could have communicated on it, couldn't we? But we didn't. So we're going to leave it up for.
That's why I got a few backups.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
So let me just share my screen here, if I can. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm first.
Well done.
You are first, Matt. So what would be your first figure in the next wave?
My first figure would be Cad Bane from the Book of Boba Fett. There we go. Boom.
Nice choice.
Yeah,
That's a
straight
good
in
one.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did I even put the Book of Bob?
Book of Bob.
What's the odds this next one's going to be a guy with blue skin and red eyes?
You may be surprised.
Okay.
Might be a
All right.
trooper.
So yeah, Tyler, go for it.
So I know everyone's expecting me to say Thrawn. The only reason I'm not saying Thrawn is because I think a lot of people will be mad and be like, "Oh, I want to wait until we see him in live action." So fine. Okay, fine. So I'm going to pick Director Krennic, because
Cool.
a
Great
newly
choice.
tooled Director Krennic could lead to a multitude of Imperial officers like Thrawn. So
Great
a lot of
choice.
retool,
That is a
a lot
great
of retool
choice.
potential there. Thank you very much.
Great character as well, and like, you know, if you think about someone that is missing from the Rogue One lineup, my God,
Definitely.
How is he not in the? I don't understand.
I know.
It blows my mind. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, Lewis.
Yeah, so I think with my newer figures, I'm focusing on trying to just finish off those Mandalorian scenes and those Mandalorian characters that we have missing. So for me, it's the Client. I think we need him for that Navarro
You
bar
stole mine.
playset.
Great
We
one.
have to have him. I mean, you know, I did have my scene set up until I started to move, you know, pack up because I'm moving house, but it just feels like there's a big gap there where that figure should be. So yeah, got to have him.
Yeah.
Chris Curran, thank you, mate. He said if Baru and Owen aren't in it, it doesn't matter.
Good choice, Lewis. You stole one of my picks.
I was talking about. I thought
Sorry.
for a moment there, I was thinking about the Kenobi series. You're not talking
Yeah.
about our spreadsheet, are you, Chris? God. No, I agree. There'd be good, two good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis, absolutely, mate. We definitely need the Client, and the Black Series one looks cool, doesn't it? Looks really
Yeah,
good.
totally.
So it's on to me. I thought I'd put myself. I didn't want to be last. No, the reason I put John last is because he might have to go before time, so that's why I put him last. I'm going for an all new.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd have to be. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this one I've put in there because it's going to annoy Tyler because he's got a whole army of the one that we already have.
Bobbleheads.
Seriously, I think we need like an all. I've said it millions of times. We need a new Phase 2 clone. I don't really care if the one that comes out is a standard white one or a shock trooper or whatever, but something that will pave the way for them to do proper army builder packs, but of a decent mold with a proper sized helmet and all that kind of stuff.
Do you know, it's become really apparent since we've had the 501st figure drop, the Bad Batch figures, even the Micro Series clones. I thought they were all decent figures, and I thought I'm happy with those; they're good. But you're getting those delivered at the same time. You're getting Bo-Katan, you're getting Quill, you're getting and you're trying to pose them, and you're thinking, what's wrong with these figures? They don't actually even pose like these new figures do, and you realise how dated they are. So totally agree with
the
that.
hip joints, especially, are really, really
Yeah.
hard to move, aren't they, into a decent position? So that's me, phase 2 clone. So I'm already winning, aren't we? Oh no, chat gets to say who's winning. I think I'm already winning. I'm joking. Go on then, John.
Matt took my first one, but the second one, he's got the same hair as me. He's got the same translucent grub-like skin as me, and that would be the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, very good choice.
Yeah.
That's all right, John. We share the same skin. It's fine. So just out of a curiosity, when you say Grand Inquisitor, are you hoping that he's going to look like the live action one, or do you want him more like a Rebels Conehead type guy?
Yes, I'll take whatever I can get. whatever I can get.
Right, hang on. I've got one of these things. Super sticker from Keith Guppy. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that, mate.
Cheers, Keith.
Cheers, Keith. He's a good lad, Keith, and he's got an awesome, amazing collection, ridiculous collection, in fact. And I actually thought that John, the action figure grader, was possibly the craziest person going when it comes to grading. But he's Keith Guppy has graded some really weird stuff.
Keith gave me this. Keith gave this to me as a gift.
Oh, lovely. Shock Troopers.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Good lad.
Beautiful.
Good lad. All right, back to Matt. Figure number 2.
Okay. My second one is Q90. There we go. Yeah.
Like that one. That's a good one.
That makes sense.
Just yeah.
Since it's your icon on Instagram.
Exactly. I want a vintage one. Yeah. Black Series one is awesome. I need the vintage collection one.
Yeah, and he's one that would look great on a card back and bubble.
Oh, he would. Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Tyler, on to you, second choice.
All right. I was going to say the client because we've got the Cantina, and that's a badly needed one. But I will throw one out for my teammate Carlo, and I will say the second sister Inquisitor.
Oh,
that's on my list too.
And I think that's a good one because Inquisitors are going to be very relevant soon because of the Obi-Wan show.
Definitely.
So I think that would be a good time to get her out.
Yeah. That was a backup. That was a backup one for me actually. Anyway, so okay. I'm running on the same line of trying to finish scenes from Mandalorian, so I'm actually going to go for Frog Lady. Because I think we need it. I think we've got the spiders, we've got the snowy Mando and snowy Grogu. We need it just to finish off that scene, and we've got the crest.
Yeah.
You can do a little scene next to your crest. We need that figure.
That's true.
Good choice.
And we need more aliens. I think every wave should at least have one alien in.
Yeah. We've talked about that figure as well. It would look really good with like the backpack with the jar and the things floating around it and stuff. It'd be good. It'd be a good one to have that.
It's got a very Kenner style name too, Frog Lady. That's something that you can imagine on an original vintage Kenner car.
That's right.
Yeah.
Walrus
All
man.
right. I'm going for Princess Leia Organa.
All right. Yes.
Okay.
And like all new has to be all new, definitive. Finally get a good sculpt of Carrie Fisher's face, because all the others haven't been great, really. It's got to be said.
Yeah.
Ticks the box for the original 96. Ticks the box for that we need it for the Tantive playset. We've got the 2 Stormtrooper Luke and Han. So come on,
come on. Yeah.
We need her.
She's another one as a loose collector. You'd buy multiples, wouldn't you? Because you've got quite a few scenes that you could put her into.
Yeah,
definitely.
So a few people are saying, "Come on, guys, Hammerhead." Well, we haven't finished yet, but you don't. Mind you, these are the 2 news, aren't they? So
yeah,
John,
2 news.
Who you up for, John?
One that's in the Black Series and was actually reissued in the Archive series. Darth Revan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'd like to have.
All new Darth Revan.
Did very well in the March Madness brackets.
He did. I think he would do very well in terms of sales for sure.
Me too.
Yeah. But he's got to be on that classic Kenner style card. That's how he would really do well.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And then they could reissue it, couldn't they, in the Jedi version like they did in the Black Series?
Yeah.
For sure.
Use it twice, get their money's worth and what have you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's move on to so these next two are like kit bashes or repaints or something where they can use like older parts maybe to make a new figure. So it doesn't, not something that's not blatantly all new. What have you gone for, Tyler?
Did you say me first?
Matt, sorry, Matt.
Sorry,
Matt,
that's
okay.
all right. It's okay. Sorry. I've gone for another droid, R5D4, but from the Book of Boba Fett. So he's all weathered. I mean, he just looks a bit more weathered and a bit more, yeah. And maybe you could add the little tiny droid, the little BD droid in there as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be,
BD would be very fun.
Yeah.
It's a good shout, and you're not on the classic card back. It'd be a new card back.
On a new card back, it'd be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good shout. I like it. Tyler?
I think the chat is going to be very happy with this one. So I was thinking about Shea Vizsla, right? And how they gave her a new head, but on the same card, right? So hear me out. Commander Cody, same card, but new head with a swappable helmet.
Oh, that was me. I had that one.
I'll definitely take that.
And what body would they use? The same body that he's got at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how much new tooling we can get here. It'd be nice if they put him on the VC-45 body, and gave him perhaps the old arms, because I know those arms are unique with his armband and the antenna and all that stuff. His head is just—he's got a pea-sized head. He needs a new head. He needs a totally new head. So.
Yeah,
that figure is like not displayable without the helmet on, and it's a shame. I know they could do justice to his head if they redid that. So that's my choice.
Yeah, but you've got some people that are enjoying that. Marky D likes that. There you go.
Good choice.
Yeah,
he's gonna have a new head though. So.
Yeah, Lewis.
So I literally for this one I wrote a list of 5 figures, and every single one of them is based on the VC 140 Stormtrooper. As you probably guess, I'm a big fan of the Stormtroopers, so they could repaint that as many times as they want, especially now they've got the rocker ankles on that figure. So the one I'm going to go for is the Jeddah Patrol Trooper, which obviously is in the Black Series. But yeah, there's so many I would take of that Stormtrooper.
Good choice.
Well, you must be a mind reader, Lewis, because my one is this.
Sand Trooper.
Yes, the Sand Trooper.
That's on my list as well. Yeah, that's on my list.
I crossed that one out.
The only reason I didn't put it first was because we've obviously had 2, but they're not. Yeah, this would be the definitive one by far.
100%.
Yeah.
With the rocker ankles, whatever else.
The better helmet. We get a better helmet. Yeah.
Great choice, Tim.
Great choice. The VC, is it 112? That was like the greatest figure ever when it came out, and you look at it now, and it just doesn't sit right with the other Stormtroopers. It just, like you say, the helmet is just not. It's off.
Yeah, it's squashed, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird, isn't it? Because we have already got 2 Sand Troopers in the vintage collection already.
Yeah.
Like they've had 2 attempts at it, isn't it? And the VC, what is it, 112? I think it is. It's actually a really nice figure. I think it's repacked in the Black Series 3.75. I've got a few of them there. I always found it is a little bit too like weathered, like almost like orange. But I think they've done some better ones in the past in terms of weathering. But 100%, they just need to use that new Stormtrooper they're giving us from the multi pack, from the deluxe pack or whatever it is, all the one with and make him into a Sand Trooper.
Yeah.
That's it. Then they never need to make that figure ever again.
No.
John?
Well, I had 3, and Matt and Tyler have already taken 2 of them. But the other one that I don't know if this is cheating or not, but I was thinking if you took the molds for Bo-Katan and Koska Reeves, maybe axe the jetpack on the back, and then make a Sabine Wren with it.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Very good choice.
I don't know if that counts or not, but
I would probably suggest that might be what they do. Yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah.
I could definitely see that coming.
In my video about Koska Reeves, I sort of said we've had a lot of Mandalorians, which is true, but a lot of people in the comments are going, never apologize having too many Mandalorians. Everyone just loves the Mandalorians, don't they? It's like, it's almost like you can't have too many of them. But right, so Matt, you're up.
Yeah, well, this one's actually inspired today by Toys of the Jedi. Chris, he mentioned it on his thing. Damaged Darth Vader. So with a new Anakin face sculpt. Yeah, it could be great.
That is awesome. I love that choice. That's super cool.
So thanks, Chris, for giving me that idea. He was watching.
That's super cool. So are you familiar with the figure? It was in the Black Series 3.75. In the TIE Fighter packaging, they made a Revenge of the Sith Darth Vader that was, like, in my opinion, the best Darth Vader they've ever made in the 3.75 inch scale. It's like super articulated, and it's crazy because it's a figure from 2013 that would still be.
They made two of them, didn't they? The head fell off on one of them, so then they put it out again, didn't they?
Right, that was the orange line, the first run of the Black Series, and then they put him out again a second time. But if they could retool that figure to be battle damaged, that would be awesome.
Awesome,
that'd be super cool.
Yeah, I like that Vader. He's whenever anybody asks if what's my favorite Vader, I've got loads of Vaders. I think everyone has, haven't they? And that one, I don't know, just it's great. The helmet's always really important with a Vader, isn't it? And that one just looks spot on. So.
And that one's got to be closest to his Obi-Wan Kenobi look, surely. No, Obi-Wan. Sorry, Nick's sitting there. Obviously, his name. The Obi-Wan Kenobi look. I mean, it's closest to Revenge of the Sith than it is A New Hope, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
if
they're going to bring one out on that card for that show, then we may see that figure again.
We might get a battle damaged Vader. We might do. You never know.
That could be cool.
We might get
Rebels
so cool. A bit of the helmet or something. Yeah.
That show looks so good. Oh my god,
it does.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Good shout, Matt. I like that. So
Thank you.
These waves are looking pretty good. I'd buy these waves.
It's just a last choice.
I mean, I think I said to you earlier before. It's a shame we haven't got Smuggler's Canyon on or Evan, because for that comedic value, I could really like cane him for his, because I'm sure we'd get like. Ben Solo in there or something.
100%. 100% you get Ben Solo. There's
sorry
zero
guys.
doubt in my mind.
Sorry guys, but it would be funny. Tyler, you're up, my friend.
Okay, so someone had mentioned Jango Fett, and I actually had him written down as one of my choices, but I decided to scribble him out because I'm going to represent Evan's choice on this one. I think that they should do Episode 3 Anakin Skywalker, the one that they also labeled as Darth Vader, retool him to have a new head, like a light side head, and do the Jedi version of him. And also maybe give him some new arms, because I know he's got really long, like orangutan arms, apparently. So give him new arms and a new head and put out a light side Anakin from Episode 3. That's my choice.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me, should they reissue that figure? And I think... When I look at it, I haven't got it loose, but when I look at it through the bubble, the head does not look like him.
No,
as far as I'm concerned.
No.
It looks really good with a hood on. Let me show you. Hold on.
Oh.
Anakin from Revenge of the Sith, yeah?
Yeah.
It does look good with the hood on. Man,
that looks good. Yeah.
That, right? Now I will admit that's a custom cloak, but
I was going to say the hood is not like that.
That sits really well. Yeah.
Really
Hasbro
good,
don't make hoods as good as that unless it's loot.
I wish they did.
I would actually be tempted to open mine if I had to get a cloak like that.
Yeah, it's like, what is this sorcery?
Yeah.
They did a
Okay,
really good
Lewis?
job with the Jedi Knight Luke. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they did. They
Sure.
did. Yeah, it's one of my favourites. Those. Lewis.
Yeah. So again, looking at a wave, I think every wave should have an alien. I think it should have a droid as well. So I'm looking at the super battle droid. And the reason, again, I had my Death Watch Mandos turned up this week. And you think of that scene they're in Mandalorian, you think you need someone to put them up against. The one we've got in TVC looks pretty good, but it's not brilliant. Whereas we had the Legacy version, which had the articulated ankles. So I think there could be a bit of a kit bash here where they actually put the Legacy legs on the TVC version to give us a much better version. Stick it on a Mandalorian card. And again, I'd army build those. So
Yeah, I'd buy that. Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, good shout, that one. Now, I was struggling with this one because I was going to go for Antok Merrick's Astromech, which would just be a simple repaint of R2 or whatever. But then I thought I can't leave out my boy Garindan. Garindan, I'm sure they could use some parts of something, like any other figure's arms and legs. And I wouldn't even mind if they just brought in the head from the Saga collection as well. The head's fine for me. So almost that's cheating. I had to get him in there.
I think some of those figures would work perfectly well using a body, and then you put a cloak on top. Not much different from Bib Fortuna. Underneath all that is Lando, isn't it? And it doesn't matter really. It looks great. It's an amazing figure. So why not do the same with some of these other aliens?
Yeah, and he also goes very nicely with my Sand Trooper. So
Oh yes, good wave. Yeah.
I like
thinking of the wave that joined up figures there as well.
Yeah.
And anyone that doesn't want Garindan is just mad.
Well, so mad. Yeah.
Right, John, you're up, mate.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I did lose two. The one that I threw out that I'm going to use now, since everyone else took mine, and this is the detail I went to. I looked at the female Inquisitorius outfits, and I compared it to Fennec Shan's kind of body mold. And I think that they could probably kit bash using parts for Fennec Shan to make a female Inquisitorius, whether it's the Seventh Sister, Second Sister, the new Reva character for the Obi-Wan show. But a female Inquisitorius is what I'm going with. You kit bashing Fennec Shan parts.
I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, mate, even the top torso, potentially, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We didn't have to repaint it and maybe play with it a little bit, but I think that was my ex. I asked that choice, but given that all the other ones are taken, that's the one I'm going with.
So sorry, which one are you going with?
I'm going with a female Inquisitorius, whether it's the second or seventh sister. You got Reva.
I was gonna say, we've already had the second, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll put the seventh then for you.
Or Reva. Reva's going to be one of the main villains.
She's supposed to be the main character now, aren't they? The rumor.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not supposed to be the Obi-Wan show. It's her, isn't it? I was like,
I
don't know.
Guarantee you now, she'll either turn good,
to the good side,
or she's already good and she's like undercover or something.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
They're gonna pull the old Iden Versio on us. Still mad at that.
Yeah.
For you video game players, you know what I'm talking about.
Right then, so we are on to the final figure. We are now on to a straight repack from TPC 1.0, or I can't remember if I mentioned to you guys if you were allowed to use other lines. I think I might have just said TVC 1.0.
Yeah.
Whoops. Sorry about that. But yeah,
it's cheap.
Something that they bring forward from back in the day.
Yeah.
And stick it on a card.
Are we right?
Go for it, Matt.
Are we ready for this one? This is a good one. Dagobah landing Luke. It's got to be. Yeah.
I still need that.
Yeah.
One figure I haven't got, or one of the only ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with a new face. Yeah, it'd be lovely. Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. That would please, as we were talking about earlier, people that, missed out first time around. It's an expensive one on the secondary market.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is. It's one I really want. Yeah. Yeah.
Great card back, that one. Really good. Tyler.
So I might be stealing one of yours, Tim. It's very possible. It's funny. John earlier was holding up the VC 110 Shock Trooper, and I almost chose that one, but instead I decided to go with the Sandstorm Leia.
That's what I was going to go for.
I knew I was stealing somebody.
Yeah.
Now is that because people can then use it as slave Leia?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we'd get a photo reel of her, and that would be the only way. So.
And with that set coming out, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to need that Leia.
Yes.
Definitely.
Sure.
I personally feel that that's the only way. Them
Yeah.
doing that is the only way you'll get that figure again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, if we don't get a bubble, Tim, we can't see it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's not offensive if you can't see the figure, right?
Yeah. Just take a picture of it with a cloak on. It'd be all right, wouldn't it? Yeah.
All right, Lewis, you're up.
Yeah, so seeing as Tyler's stolen my one, I've got a couple here. I'm going to go another army builder, I think, because I think when you're reissuing figures, they come in, it's another advantage for them. And that's the Magna Guard. Again, it's a very expensive figure. It's one of those that the soft goods were great. It's a great figure, and it just is not. I think I actually Googled it, looked on eBay earlier just to see how much it was. And in the UK, there isn't even one available on a card. It's just not there.
Pricey.
Well, I've got a Revenge of a Sith one. That's the only one I've kept. So one of the only ones I've got. Yeah.
Look at Christian. Look, he's going down anyway. Yeah, all right. And then he's only trying to wind me up. Yeah. Me and you are going to fall out, son. I would love a Magna Guard. Yeah, I'm with you, Lewis. Magna Guard would be awesome. Great card back. Really good loose fit. I'd love. I haven't got that loose, and I'd like 2 or 3 of those definitely.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm going for a figure from a 3-pack. So it is vintage collection, but it's from a 3-pack, and it ticks off the original 96 as well.
Good choice.
And the figure that comes in that 3-pack, I think, is just the Power of the Jedi one, which is like 2001 or something. But it does everything you need it to do.
It's a beautiful figure.
It
great
is.
figure. So that's what I would do, and I think that's probably what they will do when they get round to doing that one, if they've still got the mold, which I'm sure they have because they brought it out into in the 3-pack. So
yeah.
So that's mine. And John,
I waffled on this one, but I was thinking Grievous for a little while, but I think it would be an easy straight repack, and that would be on a Gaming Greats Force Unleashed card, Starkiller.
Yeah.
It's so expensive, and there's a lot of people that missed it. I mean, it's gotten $200, $250 sometimes.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, so there is our waves. So Matt's wave, I'm going to read them out. Matt's wave would be Cad Bane from the Book of Boba Fett, Q90 from the Mandalorian, R5D4 from the Book of Boba Fett, weathered up with maybe the little pack-in BD droid.
Yeah.
Damaged Vader, possibly from the new Kenobi series, maybe.
Yeah.
And Dagobah landing Luke as your straight repack in that wave. Tyler's gone for Krennic, Second Sister, Cody, which is like Kit Bash with a new head, Anakin from Revenge of the Sith, and Sandstorm Leia. That's a great shout, Sandstorm Leia. Lewis has gone for the Client, Frog Lady, Jeddah Patrol Stormtrooper, Super Battle Droid, and the Magna Guard. I went for an all-new Phase 2 clone, Princess Leia Organa, brand new, Sand Trooper using VC-140 with the new rocker ankles and everything. Garandan, I think I cheated with that one, really, didn't I? Really, but whatever. And FX7, and John went for the Grand Inquisitor, Darth Revan, Sabine Wren, Reva, or an Inquisitor, and Starkiller. So everyone in the chat, you get to vote. If you
we all know who won that. I mean, come on.
If we could pick a wave,
It's not even close.
Tim cheated anyway, didn't
Mine,
he? So.
mine destroys all of y'all. Come on.
There's a lot of dark side figures there, John. A lot of dark side figures.
I'm a little evil. I'm a little evil.
Yeah, actually, I'm surprised
Same.
Tyler isn't. I thought Tyler's was going to be all dark, actually.
So everybody in the chat, let me know whose wave would be your pick.
There's not
And,
enough villains in the TVC.
No.
Yeah.
Need more villains.
Wow, look at all these Tylers. That's loyalty. I love you guys.
Oh, come on.
Oh, there's a few mats. Thank you.
Yeah, you got Matt's wave, Lewis, Tyler's, Happy St. George's Day, only one, absolutely. Sometimes it feels a bit racist to say that, and but I don't think so. Ukrainians can be proud of their country. We can be proud of ours. Daniel Chart says, "My wave, thank you, my friend." Tim, John, there wasn't anyone voting for me. Daniel Chart's a good lad. I think it's because it's got Leia and the Sand Trooper in it. I think, and Garandan. Maybe he's a massive OT man.
Yeah.
Tyler's gonna win that one.
He likes his dioramas and stuff.
Yeah.
Cody and Leia will win. We'll let Tyler win that one all day.
Going with Matt.
Yeah.
Tim's wave bar sell the clone. There was a few for me now, a few for Lewis. So it just proves, doesn't it, that like everybody wants something different, don't they? And that's the headache that Hasbro have when they do construct a wave, I guess. I'd still buy my wave over any of yours.
Well, of course you can.
Well, interestingly, two of yours were on my list anyway. So
Yeah.
I know, in fact, even the Phase 2 clone I thought about. So
I think it's funny
It could have
that
been yours.
Lewis's wave is more army builder than mine is.
I've got a fair few, but yeah.
John, Keith is asking, what grade did it get? Have you got that one back from grading yet?
I did. I got 90 plus.
Oh, beauty.
Wow. Yeah, that's good.
Make a poll
Canadian.
in the chat. Can you do
Canadian
that?
cardback. No, sorry, it's got the thing in it. Yeah, Canadian.
Ryan Byrne would buy all of them. Ryan, would you buy all of them if they weren't on a card and bubble? Just
No.
answer that.
No.
Yeah. So I thought that was quite a bit of fun
Are you
anyway.
able to do a poll in the chat, Tim? Some
Um,
people are saying to do a poll.
how do we do it? How do I do a poll? Does anyone know?
I don't know, but I made my peace with last place a long time ago. It's okay.
I guess you can put up on YouTube tomorrow or Twitter, or do it that way. Put a poll
Yeah,
up as
that'd
well.
be fun.
You could
Yeah,
do
that'd be
do that too. Yeah, everyone knows that. That's a bit of work, but
I'm just
That's
looking-
that's on single digit percentages for action figure grader. I would gotta get less than 10%.
Oh, jeez. Where's the
I
love
don't
for
know how
John,
to do a
guys?
poll. I think you have to do a poll through YouTube. And I'm on
Community, the
Stream-
community
I'm on
tab.
StreamYard. Yeah. So I don't think I can do it like in the chat of this.
be
Through-
interesting though.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. It's all right. There's a few names there, so I think we all got a fair
Yeah,
vote.
no one failed miserably, did they? So good enough.
No. Yeah.
All right, guys. So I'll just stop sharing. Oh, hang on. Press the wrong thing. Stop. I'll just stop sharing the screen. Right. We've got a bit of time left, John. If you do need to go off, don't
No,
just
I'm
let me
good.
know.
I got about 10 minutes.
So I was just wondering, like from what's been revealed already, like what's the thing that you're most looking forward to? We can go round. out of all the things that have been revealed so far, what you most looking forward to, Matt?
Well, Shay Vizsla, definitely. Figure and Dan, definitely. But those are two. Not that. I mean, I know the Black Series figure was only the one figure, but it was kind of okay. I know it's a deluxe as well, which is a bit off-putting. But yeah.
What's that? The Rogue One dude?
Yeah, Rogue One dude. Yeah. So I know there's a lot of detail in that figure, a lot of detail. But yeah, I've sort of stopped now. I've just picked favorites now. So pick favorites. So I've got the Death Watch Mandalorian turned up, and the Black Series one the other day. So that was a lovely figure. So I see a lot of people buying loads and loads and loads of those at the moment. Army building.
About 5 over there, I think, at the moment.
That's it.
More
I've
to
seen
come.
pictures. I've seen pictures. Like, how many?
Yeah.
I see it. I know we're not mentioning it, but I see it with the He-Man, with the Mattel, and the Horde Troopers come out, and I saw a picture, and someone had bought like 30.
Yeah, I saw that.
I saw that.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. I was like, how much?
And then in the comments, everyone's going, "Oh, that's where they've all gone." Cheers.
That's where they all
I
go.
didn't even
That's why I
manage to get
can't get
one.
one.
Tyler gets that
Yeah.
every time Tyler posts. He gets that comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They slaughter you for that, Tyler, don't they? They sort of say, like
Scalper.
because
Couldn't
obviously
scalper.
there's scalping or buying them to like hoard them and
There's
sell them on
loads
later.
out there. There's loads out there.
Yep. Every time.
Yeah. So but Tyler, why do you need 35 the Childs? Why do you need that?
I don't army build Grogu's, guys. Come on.
No.
Well, the way that they're packing them into deluxe packs, I think we're all going to end up with about 35
That's
of them
right.
anyway.
I know. You can't get rid of them.
It's so funny. I want to say it was Kingdom of Weird on Instagram, but it might be somebody else. So forgive me if it was somebody else. But there was someone who basically made a cloning chamber like they did in the Mandalorian during that one episode with on Navarro, and he had Thrawn and Moff Gideon around this cloning chamber, and a bunch of like cloned Grogu's came out, and he just had all the different releases of Grogu outside the cloning chamber.
It's great.
It was pretty funny. We've had him so many times.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Grogu is
Funny enough, I think the best one that they've done is the one that's in that Ahsoka thing. I like him, where he's like reaching out like that,
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
I like him in the speeder bike in the release where he's in the bag, so you just got the head. You'd have to- That's different.
So, John, what you got your eyes on?
Well, I mean, the Super Commando. As soon as I saw that card back and those horns and all that, I mean that to me just was like I have to have 5 of those. I pre-ordered 5 of those. But strangely, that gaming greats Lando. I don't know what it is. I mean, I shouldn't like it. I used to hate people that used him in the game when I played it because they'd kill me like 10 times in a row with him, and he'd be all cocky, and like flaring with his scarf, and I'd be sitting there dead. So I don't know why I like him, but I love that card back. It looks awesome.
It does, yeah.
He looks a great figure.
Yeah.
That's
People, I think a lot.
The way they had him posed in that picture where he's like walking,
He looks so cocky.
He's so obnoxious, isn't he? He's just like
He is. I love it. It's just
lot-
like being
lot-
obnoxious.
Exponential swagger.
Yes.
A lot of people actually forget he's in the end of the film, don't they? He's in that very end scene, isn't it? Wearing that shirt at the very end.
Yeah, it's
That's
right.
right.
The solo figure. It counts. Still counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of people's like, why do we need that? And it's like, well, I think he's cool.
Why not?
Yeah. That's got a
super
cool
bright colours and everything. It's
a chrome weapon. a
Card
chrome
back's
weapon.
amazing.
I did want to ask you actually, John, because I've never really got a straight answer from you in our conversations that we have every day, because you just annoy me every day. When the modal nodes was revealed, you're like, not bothered. Like OT, like why don't you want OT characters? Like, you do seem to like the clones and the weird ones and things like that. What is it about? Like, I don't know, like the Wingard, Bespin guards, that you just like whatever. Don't want them.
Well, I think it's because it comes down for me to space. I've got such a limited amount of space as it is that if I'm going to get a Bespin guard, I'd rather just go get a vintage Kenner, like a really nice vintage Kenner one.
Yeah.
But whereas, like the Super Commando, I mean, that I have to have that. I mean, it's too amazing. There was no original release. So the original 96 and collecting that, it's just me. I just don't have any desire for those. I think if I'm going to spend my collecting space, if that makes any sense, I'm just going to get an original one.
Yeah.
But the modal nodes, figuring down, he's not part of that. So why wasn't he just? It's
a fair point. It's fair, but I don't know. For that one, I just nothing about it really appeals to me. I don't know why. I think I've finally come to grips with the fact that I have such a limited amount of space now that I cannot collect all of the vintage collection, and it stinks.
Yeah.
But
your solution to that, John, you start opening them. That's what it comes down to.
Never.
You can get so many more on a shelf.
Never.
You're triggering me.
I will tell you, I think when I started collecting Power of the Force 2 stuff back when I was in my sort of late teens, I decided I'm a new collector. I'm not a kid anymore. I don't play with toys. I'm going to keep them all on cards. And I actually kept the entire Power of the Force, Power of the Jedi, right through Saga line, 30th anniversary. I had everything on cards. It was all on cards. And I had them in boxes, and I couldn't enjoy them because I had nowhere to put them. And I actually sat with one weekend, me and the two girls. My girls are teenagers now, but we literally sat there and we opened the whole lot. I just decided to do it, and I've never regretted it. I've never regretted it at all. The kids loved it. It was like Christmas Day for them. They were just ripping them open. Next one, they didn't even care what was in them, just ripping them open. But yeah, I've never looked back, and I don't. For me, it was a space thing. Was one of the reasons I made the decision, but one of the others was just to enjoy them a bit more the way I wanted to enjoy them. And I'm not. Yeah. I wouldn't knock the way that anybody collects, because I think we all collect for a reason, and we all collect the way we collect. But,
yeah.
Well, I could tell you, if I had been there while you were opening those, I would have been tapping on the window, wearing an Indiana Jones fedora, saying, "That belongs in a museum. What are you doing?"
No, it was. It took a bit of a decision to do it, but I've never regretted it. I don't.
That's awesome.
I've always thought
I'm
never going to sell them. They're not going to go anywhere. Yeah. So,
John, what about the upcoming Stormtrooper? One of the original 12. The original 96, beautiful new Stormtrooper with the holster and the rocker ankles. Not even that one.
No, it is gorgeous, and I probably will end up. In all fairness, the Stormtrooper on the Stormtrooper card, I probably will end up getting that. I didn't pre-order it, but the more I look at it, it's like, oh, that's so pretty. It's so pretty. It saves me about $2,000.
I've got you.
It saved me about $2,000 too to get that one instead of the original.
And it's sold out, isn't it? The Stormtrooper. It's sold out.
In my mind, if you brought that figure back to 1977, it would blow some kid's mind, man.
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
So, and Matt, you just said they're sold out. That's because Tyler's bought them all, right? let's just be clear about it.
Yeah,
believe it or not, people were able to get more than I could. Yeah,
I didn't pre-order it. I just thought, I thought there'd be loads, and it's sold out, didn't it? In a couple of days, it's like,
it's an exclusive. I know over here it's not exclusive, but it's obviously still limited in number.
Yeah, I'll find.
They need to get those out to fan channel, man. That's what they need to do.
Definitely.
Would you buy Garandan AFG?
Yeah, I probably would.
I'd love a Garandan.
Yeah, I probably would. Any the aliens.
More aliens. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm not keen on the Bespin guys either, John. Don't really do it for me. No.
See, I need those. Since I bought that carbon freezing set, you just kind of think, where's all the figures that we've been waiting for those two? We need some Ugnaughts as well. For me, again, because your displays are different. My displays are dioramas and scenes, and you kind of think, well, where's these missing figures? We need them.
The Imperial Gunner as well. Don't really, but we've had a Rogue One one already, but I guess for army builders, you need them. Yeah.
Gotta have
gentlemen. I apologize. I have to go take my daughter to a birthday party. My wife's out of town, so I'm on my own, man.
Thanks for coming, John.
I'm sorry, I got to jump off early.
Yeah, quickly before you go, everybody in the chat, John, the action figure grade, who's got an amazing channel. Make sure you subscribe to his channel.
Yeah, brilliant.
Does some really good videos and everything. So
Yeah.
give him a sub.
Give him a
Lewis
Very
and,
nice
and
meeting you,
Tyler, great to meet you
Certainly, sir.
guys. Great to meet you guys. And Matt, good to see you as always too, man.
Yeah.
Tim, thank you for having me on, Tim. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll speak to you later, mate. All right.
All right,
Yeah.
night, guys.
Good
See ya.
night.
Later, John.
Cheers, John.
Yeah, he's a good lad, John. He's a good.
I keep watching his channel and I keep thinking I'm going to buy more comics. I don't buy comics, and every time I've got a list of comics in my eBay, and I'm like, no, I will not start buying comics.
I know. Yeah. He's got some great.
Oh,
great
yeah.
creations.
I asked this advice the other day, like, what's the good comics to just start buying? You know, just not going to watch, not read them. I'm just going to keep them and put them away. And he's like, oh, a list. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I got really lucky, like the luckiest I've ever been. I'm not usually this lucky with things, but back in 2015, when Marvel started doing the comics again, I was buying them all to read, you know. So I was reading the first, I think the first lot of Star Wars series had 75 issues. Then you had the Darth Vader and other little offshoots like Han Solo and the Kanan comics.
The Kanan ones.
Yeah, the Kanan. Well, I've got all of those 1 to 12, and even though I'd read the first one, I sent it to John. He sent it to CGC, and it got a 9.8, which is crazy for something that's been read. You know, usually they've got to be like completely untouched. So that's I'm really happy because obviously it's now something that I've had enjoyment out of because I've read it. It's done, you know. But now I've got this thing that's actually worth a bit of money, I guess. So it's quite. But I've got a loft full of comics. And
Yeah, so Gary Moore was saying there in the chat, Matt, start Crimson Reign. It was one I'm thinking of starting.
Yeah.
But there's so many covers, you know, like, which ones do I pick?
I just got recently from an auction site that my girlfriend showed me. Because she showed me that there was a bunch of Star Wars stuff on it. And I found 5 out of 6 of the original Dark Empire comics. And all of them, the covers are signed by the cover art illustrator. Actually, he might have been he might have been the illustrator for the whole comic, actually, but it was signed.
Wow.
It's so cool. And I got it for like dirt cheap, like $20 or $30. So that was super cool.
Crazy.
But,
yeah, you want to get them graded.
Yeah, I need to.
They don't
John's got this guy that does the pressing and stuff, so you can send him like a comic and he'll like press it and clean it, and you know, he just shows the before and after shots of what you do with a comic, and it's you know, it's worth paying the $15 to get it done before you send it off, because you know, it could be the difference between like a 9.4 and a 9.8. And when it comes to the value of that comic, it's all, you know, as Ryan Burns saying there, comics are all about the condition. It is all about the condition.
Definitely.
So. So going back earlier, so Tyler, what are you looking forward to the most out of the stuff that's been revealed?
Me?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I was reading the comments. I got a little distracted there. All the stuff that's been revealed. I know most people are expecting me to say the Stormtrooper. I'm definitely very excited about that one. But I think I'm really excited for Morack Boba Fett. I think that's a really, really good looking figure that's painted really well too. It's funny because I actually was not able to secure that any of the times he was available on pre-order, but I got to get that figure because it's so cool. And I love how he was depicted in The Mandalorian, like Boba Fett when he made his comeback in those episodes. It seemed consistent with the Boba Fett that we knew from back in the day. In his own show, he seems like a different person. So I don't know. I identify with Morack Boba Fett. That's Boba Fett for me. So
less words, more action, wasn't it?
I love that look. It just looks super cool to me. But
And what about you, Lewis? What are you looking forward to?
I think figure-wise, that Stormtrooper is the one that I've been waiting for years. So I've got a very small Stormtrooper focus, and obviously I will army build it to some degree. But yeah, it to me, it screams Star Wars. Again, when you think back when you were a kid and you had those figures, that Stormtrooper is everything to me. But I would also say the throne room set, I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, I love a display set. I love where these things are going. and I'm really excited. I just think it looks great. The accessories with it and everything looks amazing.
It's a good point.
I'm surprised, Tim, you didn't have Paz Vizsla in your list. That was the the top guy. I thought you loved it, Yeah. But he's coming out though, isn't he? So yeah, what was he? No.
Has he been?
No.
I think he's one of those. I think I probably didn't put him in because I think he's one of those things that I just feel will be done.
Will be done.
Like at some point, it's just they can't not like do that figure. I think, and I think we will see him at some point.
Especially after
figure.
his fight with Din Djarin. And
exactly. Yeah, it's giving him even more
such
weight.
A cool scene. But I think he'd probably have to be deluxe though, and I added a couple lines here in case you were like, in case we got on the subject of like, what would you want for a deluxe figure? Paz was my choice.
Yeah.
I don't know if Baze Malbus would have to be deluxe because he's kind of big with his big, minigun chain gun thing too. So I think I would piss people off if he wasn't a mainline figure. But
Depends if he comes with a bubble.
Yeah, I think 100%. If and when they do Paz, he'd have to be deluxe.
Yeah.
He's going to be a big dude, and his chain gun and everything. You're right. It's just there's
big
no way they would. Yeah, the amount of money they're going to have to pay, like invest. They're going to want to get it back, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
And then they'll probably carbonize him. That's the thing about this. That's also the thing about this plastic thing. Like. They can like do this carbonized thing and credit collection thing, and when you look at the Black Series as well, the 40th anniversary of things where they Kennerize the Black Series, don't they? They can't do that anymore, can they? And that was like a way of them getting
a box, but it doesn't look as shiny, is it?
That was a way of them getting a repack out and using that figure all over again and making double the amount of money from the investment of one sculpt,
Well, and they were even going to use that historic package, weren't they, for the failed Rancor? So the Gammy Guard and the Luke were all going to be on that. Exactly. So they see the value of that pack, don't they?
Exactly.
They know it's there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing we're coming full circle now because we're talking about it at the start. But that Rancor, you're right. It's like I don't want a 6-inch Rancor. And I don't really collect 6-inch figures, but if you gave me a Gamorrean guard on a 6-inch card with a coin, I'm gonna want it. I will want it because of the connection of the whole Kenner thing and the power of the Force. So,
that Luke was the thing. That was the thing. I was really tempted for the Luke. It was just, but we'll probably get that. But will we get it on the bubble? That's the thing now. So we're going because we've got the 40th wave coming, haven't we, for the Return of the Jedi sometime on a 6-inch. But we don't know now, so what it's going to look like. Yeah.
Yes, it's madness. What am I looking forward to? The Stormtrooper's definitely up there on a Star Wars chase. We've wanted that for so long. They've given it on a ESB, a Return, and a Revenge. And his debut card was the Star Wars card. It's just from a carded collector's point of view, that's one that needs to be done. Hopefully it's in 2022 and it has a bubble.
Yeah, it's the only
because it's funny. It's funny that one, isn't it? It's funny that one. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen the image, have we? We've seen something that could potentially look like what they could. Do you know what I mean?
Good point, actually. Yeah, it hasn't. It's got.
It's like
it looks like one of those comic packs, doesn't it?
Yeah, because if you think about what they've done with the Marvel, with a picture of the figure on it, then that's what that artist's impression of that card back looked like, didn't it? Had a picture on the bubble. So
now I'm getting worried.
Right then, guys, we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. We've still got 200 people watching, which is phenomenal. So thank you everyone in the chat for watching. It's unbelievable. I love doing these live streams and always getting good people on and stuff. The last one we did with Nick and Christian and was it Evan? With the bracket and everything, that was like,
I think it was John, wasn't it? Was it John?
And John, that was so funny. That was like I had such a good time on that live stream.
Yeah,
I was absolutely buzzing afterwards. And yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on as well. And it's always good to meet you in person, Lewis, as well. I know we've talked online and stuff. So so I'm just gonna, Matt, do you just want to let the chat know about your channel and where they can find you, social media and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, of course. I'm Universal Collector on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find me there. So just look for me up. Just go to my YouTube and you'll find the links in there. So yeah.
Cheers, Gary. Gary's a big supporter of the channel, and thank you so much, my friend. Too generous. He's a legend as well. Very active on my Discord, which is awesome. Yeah, thank you, mate. I appreciate that. And you guys, Tyler, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at the most unoriginal Instagram name ever, SW Collector 3.75, and I'm also a contributor for SWTVC. That's our big thing. So yeah. And Matt, very nice to finally meet you. Fun. So,
I hear your voices on the podcast and stuff. It's like,
great, excellent.
So you know what we look like. Just another. What you didn't really need on the channel, Tim, was another old bald guy talking about Star Wars figures. But unfortunately, you got me. So
I wear a cap, mate. So.
I gave
up with that.
I think most people in the chat could be old ball guys, so I wouldn't really worry.
That's what collecting does to you nowadays.
Yeah, it's the stress of it, isn't it?
Yeah, give it a few years, Tyler.
But go for it, Lewis. Where can people find you, mate?
Yeah, I'm usually on Instagram. Obviously at Space Hut. But again, as with Tyler, SWTVC. I think Tyler does most of the day-to-day chatting with people on SWTVC. Actually, if you send a DM, you normally get Tyler on the other end. But yeah, occasionally I'm dipping in there as well. Yeah, no, it's a great account to follow on Instagram. And I've got to admit, and Chris from Toys of the Jedi, if he's in the chat, he'll know this. I was never really like a big podcast listener because, if I'm brutally honest, I wouldn't have known how to listen to them, and I wouldn't have known which ones existed and stuff like that. I watched YouTube, and I was busy on Instagram and Twitter, seeing what Yak Face is up to and whatever. But I do listen to your podcast. I'm not just saying that. I do listen to the podcast because now I'm working from home. I can sit there with it on while I'm working, and that's great.
Thanks, Tim.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
If anyone's listening from my work, which I'm sure you're not, I do actually work while I'm listening to it.
See, it's there. It's in one of my favourites there. See, there we go.
Evan is definitely Evan's the magic behind that podcast.
Yes.
I mean, he does an amazing job editing. We waffle on. Sometimes we say things and you think, we really shouldn't say it. He leaves most of Tyler's stuff in just to wind him up. But Evan, he does work the magic behind that. So all credit.
Yeah, and I've said this before. He's got one of those like podcast voices, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean?
He does. He does.
Radio.
The face. All right then, guys. Well, thanks for coming on. I do appreciate it. And also, just hang on for a second, and when we're offline, we'll have a quick chat before we go and what have you.
Sure.
But just want to thank everybody in the chat for coming along today. Really appreciate it. I want to try and do more of these. Like, when I started doing the Vintage Collection show, I wanted it to be at least like every 2 weeks or something, and then other things got in the way. But I do kind of like to have things to talk about, like a proper topic. So this is a good one, obviously, with the plastic thing coming up. But thanks everybody for coming along, and check out Ask Boss Bounty tomorrow. That'll be on at 7:30 GMT. Every Sunday I do that video, and if you want to ask a question on that, watch last week's video and you can leave a question. That's it for now then, folks. Thanks for coming on, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Later, guys.
Bye.